Hey guys, Mr. Sajak here. Talking to you about independent and dependent variables. There's a little confusion over the assignment that we had last week, so I'm going to give you some clarifying information and we'll try again with independent and dependent variables. Alright, so if you recall, the first few steps of the scientific method are that you, one, start with a problem, then you develop a hypothesis, and you conduct an experiment. And so you might see the steps a little bit differently. I know some versions we do a little bit of research in here because, of course, you're going to study a problem before you develop a hypothesis. I've left that out and just trying to keep it simple here. So you're starting with a problem, you develop a hypothesis, and then you conduct an experiment. And so before we can conduct an experiment, we have to know what we're testing. And that's where the hypothesis comes in. It's a prediction about what's going to happen in our experiment. So we predict that if we do something, then something will happen. Okay? If we do something, then something will happen. All right, if I do this, then this will happen. In this case, the independent variable is the thing that I do, and the dependent variable is the thing that will happen. This should become more clear as we work through this. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message on Schoology or email. Okay, so here we'll just go straight to the examples. If you get more sleep, then you will be less tired. So in this case, getting more sleep, or the amount of sleep, is the independent variable. The amount of tiredness is the dependent variable. Okay, so the independent variable is the amount of sleep. The dependent variable is how tired you are. Okay, so in this case, tiredness depends on the amount of sleep. Okay, so the dependent variable, which depends on the amount of sleep, is tiredness. The independent variable, which is the one the scientist controls, I control, is the amount of sleep. And so when we put these on a graph, this is just a blank graph for the sake of example. We put our independent variable, or the one we're controlling, on the x-axis, and we're putting our dependent variable, the one we're measuring, on the y-axis. And now it can be difficult to measure tiredness, but for the sake of this argument, when we feel more tired, we're going to call that higher tiredness. When we feel less tired, we're going to call that lower tiredness. So as you can see, as the amount of sleep increases, going from left to right, on our x-axis here, the bottoms, the amount of sleep increases, our tiredness goes down. And now I know there's some anomalies here, because if we get too much sleep, we might be overtired, or we might be so tired that no matter how much sleep we get, anyway, we're still tired. But in general, the more sleep we get, the less tired we are. So our dependent variable depends on our independent variable, which is on our x-axis. Okay, so the independent variable is sleep, the dependent variable is tiredness. All right, so if you go to school, then you will have better grades. We're on to another example here. The thing I do under if is typically our independent variable, and then our dependent variable is what happens if we do that. So if you go to school, then you will have better grades. If you go to school as our independent variable, or going to school, and then our grades are our dependent variable here. Okay, so let's do some practice here. Sorry. All right. Here, let's move my face out of the way. If you leave the lights on, then it will take longer for people to fall asleep. So the thing that we're doing is leaving the lights on, so that's our independent variable. And the thing we're measuring is the time to fall asleep, so then that is our dependent variable, the time it takes for people to fall asleep. Okay? If you refrigerate apples, then they will last longer before going bad. I added the word then. I should have put it in the writing, so I apologize. But if the thing we do is our independent variable, the thing we're measuring is how long they last before going bad, so that's our dependent variable. If you keep the curtains closed, then less electricity will be used to heat or cool the house. So the thing that, if we do it, the independent variable is keeping the curtains closed. So if you keep the curtains closed, then less electricity will be used to heat or cool the house. If the curtains are closed, then less electricity will be used, and then we're measuring electricity use. So that's our dependent variable. If you leave a bucket of water uncovered, then it will evaporate more quickly. So the thing we're doing is the independent variable. If we're leaving the bucket of water uncovered, or the bucket covered or uncovered, is the independent variable. It will evaporate more quickly. So the speed of evaporation is what we're measuring, the dependent variable. Goldfish lose their color if they are not exposed to light. So here our if statement is at the back end, but it doesn't change anything. If they are not exposed to light, then goldfish lose their color. So we're testing the exposure to light, and we're measuring the loss of color. In this case, workers who take vacations are more productive than those who never take time off. Okay, so there's a little bit of extra information here, but we'll break it down. Workers who take vacations are more productive. So if I take more vacations, then I am more productive. So if is the amount of vacation, and then productivity, or how productive, is the dependent variable. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions, shoot us a message. Again, pretty simple here. What we're changing versus what we're measuring. Independent versus dependent variables. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Other than that, have a great day.